speaking order, but I'm going to write it out for you real quick. Okay, so say hello for me.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on short notice and being part of this exciting event. I want to start by introducing a number of people, and bear with me for a sec, but I want to start first and foremost by introducing our governor from the state of Vermont, Peter Shumlin. Peter, and this is something I know the people in this room feel like there's a lot of momentum, a lot of the good things happening in downtown Burlington, and I just hope everyone knows that whether it's the progress we're making on the Champlain Parkway, whether it's the progress we're making rebuilding the bike path, getting the groundbreaking on Waterfront Access North, resolving the Burlington Telecom situation, the governor and his team are in the middle of every one of those initiatives. We're on the phone with the governor's office and his department heads, I guess you call them commissioners and secretaries as governor, but we're on the phone with them almost every day solving Burlington problems, and we're fortunate to have a governor who understands Burlington, understands Vermont downtowns to work with as we get through this, and this is going to be another great example of that. I want to introduce Don Sinex from Devonwood Investors, LLC. Don is the energy and the force that is behind making this announcement, and we're going to have a lot to say together about the plans for this property, and we're going to come back to that in a second. I want to introduce some other people first. We have Sue Minter, who is the incoming secretary of the Vermont Agency of Transportation. Congratulations, Sue. We're excited to see you in that role. We have Kelly Stoddard-Poor from the AARP. He's the director of outreach, and the AARP has become a great partner to us in Burlington on a whole range of vibrancy and downtown investment issues. And thank you for being here today, Kelly. And we're gonna hear from Kelly later on. Tom Torty is here from the executive director of the Lake Champlain Chamber of Commerce, a great partner as well on so many initiatives. And Frank Chaffees from GBIC is there with him. We have Charlie Baker, the executive director of the Chittenden County Regional Planning Commission, who again is involved in so many of the initiatives, providing some of that planning capacity and regional perspective. Thank you, Charlie. Emily Bodekerver, the executive director of Local Motion, is right here, and Emily's going to share a few words in a moment. Emily, too, has been a great partner in this vision of a walkable, bikeable, vibrant, green downtown. We're going to hear more about that. Spencer Welton, the steering committee of the Burlington's, she's the president of the steering committee of the Burlington's Farmers Market, is here somewhere. Where is Spencer? Thank you for being here, Spencer. And you can, people see in some of the images a possible vision of a future for the Burlington Farmers Market. We have Bill Truex, one of the founding fathers of the Church Street Marketplace, and has been involved in so many important investments and life that's been brought into the downtown of Burlington and for the recent decades. Thank you for being here, Bill. Bill's going to share a little bit of that historical perspective today. We have Kelly Devine from the Burlington Business Association. Kelly, we're going to hear from as well. We have from our federal delegation, John Tracy, representing Senator Leahy. I saw John around. Hey, John, thank you for being here. And Tricia Coates from Congressman Welch's office. We are so fortunate to have federal delegation we do, and you are another great partner in all that is happening in the city. I appreciate you being here today. We have, I think Representative Keisha Ram is around here somewhere, is going to be here shortly. And we have a big chunk of our city council. I don't think we quite have a quorum. We haven't violated any open meeting law, but we are going to hear from a number of city councilors from different perspectives today. We have David Hartnett from Ward 4 City Councilor, President Joan Shannon. We have Karen Paul, councilor from Ward 6, who at a day like today, I think we should always point out, we're going to talk a lot about Plan BTV and how that relates to the announcement today. And Karen, were it not for Karen's energy and vision with finding resources for Plan BTV, that what is proving to be a very successful planning process, I don't think ever would have happened. So thank you, Karen, for being with us today. And we have Max Tracy here as well from Ward 2, who is a great champion of active transportation, and appreciate having you here today, Max, and your support for where we're going with this. I believe Chip Mason is here as well, Ward 5, and heard Vince Brennan was getting on his bike and biking down here too. So we may, and we have Kurt McCormick, our state rep as well. Kurt, thank you for coming. Just a couple other community partners I just want to give a shout out to as we get started here. Mark Redmond from Spectrum is here. Joe Spidell from UVM. Joe, thank you for being here. Jeff, Nick from the chair of the Church Street Marketplace, among other important hats, is here. Jeff, thanks for being with us. And our friends down Cherry Street at Hotel Vermont, who have started this rebirth of Cherry Street that we're going to talk about, bringing some new life to, are here as well. All right, with that long wind-up, let me get started here. This document here is Plan BTV. We created this through a really remarkable public engagement process that started in 2011 and finished in 2013. And it identifies a number of important planning goals, important achievements that we are hoping to get to as a community over the coming decades in the downtown and the waterfront area. And there's a whole section in here on what the community hopes will happen with the mall. That's what I'm turning to. Here we are. We got a whole vision of the mall becoming, shifting from being this important property that is part of the vitality of the downtown and the Church Street, but at the same time, in recent years, has been recognized as being underutilized, as having some real flaws to it, I think, when we're being honest, of cutting off the connectivity of the street grid on Pine Street and St. Paul Street, of deadening Cherry Street and Bank Street because of the inward focus, because there is not a connectivity between the life that's happening here and the street. Now you can feel that starting to change because Don Sinix and his team have already changed that with L.L. Bean's arrival, but still, today, for the most part, the mall property looks inward and does not face the public in the street. I am very excited that really just a year after the council approved this vision, here we are announcing that the city and Don Sinix, the owner of the Burlington Town Center Mall, are committed to moving forward and committed to a partnership to comprehensively redevelop this property. It's I think quite remarkable that we are at a point so quickly after this planning process to where we have both the owner and the city excited about moving forward with that. The achievement of the vision that Don is going to talk about in a moment will require an enormous amount of coordination between the owners of the property and the city. It will require public infrastructure investment to support the vision that Don is working towards. And because of that, we are envisioning an additional public, transparent process before the start of any permitting, where we will, with the city council involved, with the planning commission involved, we will, and with the public fully involved, we will work through the variety of issues that will need to be resolved to make this coordination and investment work. I am very excited to be starting this process with Don Sinix in the still relatively short time that I've known Don. Don, you've proven yourself to be a person of great energy, a good listener who understands what the city's needs are, and someone who I think we need to look no farther than the store behind us to know that you're a person that follows through on the commitments you make and what you say you're going to deliver here. So, Don, I'm excited to be taking this step with you and looking forward to working together in the months and years ahead to make this a great make this a great property, make this a great project, and accomplish the vision of Plan BTV.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. I think this is a big day for Burlington and for the Burlington Town Center. And I was told I would be allowed to make only 5 minutes worth of comments. It's very difficult for me because I like to tell stories and I like to talk with my hands, and I'm very passionate about what I do. And this mall has captured my energy and all my passion. When I stood here not too long ago and stood on Church Street and looked at the mall, I saw a single purpose, single story structure, and I thought, how could it be? Burlington is so prosperous and so important. How could this be? Mine is not to wonder why. I didn't care. I knew there was a grand opportunity here. And this public-private partnership that the mayor and I and the governor are announcing today is so important in how we develop the site. And what we're doing today is not announcing a plan to develop the site. What we're announcing is a process. We want to engage the public, invite the public and all the stakeholders to come and exchange with us their ideas. We hope there are some very impactful ideas, ideas that we'll stand up and say, that is a great idea. That's one of the things we should integrate into the plan to develop this site. The private-public partnership and this process of inclusion, including people with good ideas that'll help us plan the site, develop the site, and execute it so that in the end, we have a project that is good for Burlington, good for Vermont, and good for the Burlington Town Center. We don't have all the answers, we have ideas. You know how vibrant this city is. You know that there's a need for housing in this city. We therefore conclude that housing should be a part of our project. You know that Church Street is critically important to the tourism and to the visitors here, and we know what Church Street is. It's food and drink and entertaining and shopping. We don't have much in the form of entertainment and shopping here. We want to change our tenant mix to reflect that. A hotel is a possibility. Public space, open space, space that the public can enjoy, that they'll be wanting to use is a big part of what we're going to plan. And if you take the time to look at some of these conceptual renderings, you will see our focus is on the outside. Our objective here is very simple. We want to take the mall and return it to the community. And we want the community to come into the mall and feel that it owns and is part of the community. That's our objective. We can't do it alone. This is a private-public partnership. We have private interest. The public has its interest. The mayor and I will work extremely hard to produce something that you'll all want to use and you'll all be very, very proud of. We can't do it without your help. We're asking for your participation and your involvement as we define the process and move forward. That's really all I have to say.
That's great. Next, I want to invite Governor Shumlin to share a few words. Thank you, Governor, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maurel Weinberg. I'm so proud of you for the job you're doing, not only putting this city's finances in order. We know a city can't thrive if it's struggling financially, but also the vision that you're bringing, this being yet another example of ensuring that the Queen City is the best city to live in America. That's really what you're delivering for Burlington, and we're proud of you. I'm also honored to be part of a partnership with Don Sinix, with the City Council, with the community of Burlington, with my agencies and departments, to ensure that we take the potential, the vision of Don and his team, and really deliver for Burlington. Let's talk about what's really going on here. When this mall was built, I was in high school. And the vision at that time was that you use downtowns to go and shop. We build big highway infrastructures around downtowns and get out of here as fast as we can to go to bed, and in many cases to go to work, building office space outside of our downtowns. What this project and the process that Don has just outlined allows us to do is to get it right for our downtown revitalization in the most important city in Vermont. It really does. It allows us to deliver on the promise of using the extraordinary resources of the downtown, of Church Street and the entire region, to ensure that we're not only doing the best retail that we can, but that we're also doing housing, office space, and making our downtowns places to live, to work, to enjoy culture, most importantly, to take care of each other. And that's really what our downtowns in Vermont are all about, ensuring that we're still the state, the best state in the country, not only to live and to work, but to ensure that we reach out to both friends and strangers to make sure that they're part of a vibrant downtown community. So the potential is enormous. The opportunity is much needed. We can take this project and this partnership and make sure that we deliver for the Queen City quality of life, vibrant downtown, jobs, economic development, most importantly, a walkable, green city for generations to come. So we're going to pledge as governor that we use all of our resources to help Don and his team with the city of Burlington and mayor to get this one right for future generations of Vermonters. Thank you so much, Don Sinek, for your donation.
Next, I want to invite Kelly Stoddard-Poor from AARP to share some thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. At AARP Vermont, we are very excited to be part of this process and to partner with the city and the development team to engage the citizens of Burlington regarding this exciting initiative. This is clearly an important conversation about rebuilding the heart of the city and creating a more walkable and livable downtown, a place that supports residents aging in place instead of moving out of the city. We are also pleased to see the prospect of more housing in the downtown district for people of all ages. Housing, as you know, is a big concern for our community as residents age and look to downsize and move closer to services, amenities, and support. We look forward to an open and a transparent process to advance community-based vision of Plan B TV, and AARP will certainly do all that we can to support this process. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to ask Emily Boddicker from Local Motion to join us. Thanks for being here, Emily.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, so to say this is a game changer for Burlington, it's not hyperbole. So we've been given a rare opportunity to bring our best ideas to the table, and Local Motion applauds the commitment from Don Sinek, from the mayor, and from city leaders to really engage the public, that's us, in this conversation, our friends and our neighbors, and for it to make it an open, inclusive conversation. This is placemaking at its best when we get to be part of it. The redevelopment will increase the vibrancy of downtown. It will create a place where people want to get out of their cars. When we're out of our cars, we're social, we shop, and we have an experience that draws us back in frequently and often. And more than just providing facilities and allowing pedestrians and bicyclists once more to connect on our street network, this has the opportunity to build on the Church Street experience and really transform the heart of our small city into a walking and biking destination. The best way to show you this is perhaps a Facebook post from a few years hence. That Facebook post might be, "Best birthday ever, biked with ease into Burlington, got a fabulous gift at the mall, left it safely on my bike in their stylish bike parking. My son is looking good. I met him for lunch because he walks downtown nearly every day to lunch on Church Street or that Garden Terrace Cafe. You've got to come visit. Best downtown on the East Coast."
That was great, Emily, although I think we only talk about LO posts here in Burlington now. But next up, we have Bill Truex. Bill, thank you for being here.
Thank you. The 1960s and 70s were difficult yet exciting times for Burlington. Many communities in the Northeast had seen their downtowns abandoned by almost everyone during the post-war boom. Though it had not happened in Burlington yet, the fear that it could happen was very real. There was concern that the urban renewal project would compete with Church Street rather than support the concept of a strong, expanded downtown. The closure of St. Paul and Pine Streets 40 years ago, as part of Burlington's urban renewal planning, was guided by the goal of expanding and connecting the existing downtown business district with urban renewal, the lake, and the waterfront. What the success of the Church Street Marketplace has demonstrated is the critical importance of active street edges and public spaces when creating dynamic, interconnected pedestrian districts. The genius of the new town center concept lies in its potential for fulfillment of the original goals of increasing the density and diversity of the downtown core land uses, and also of expanding the downtown core west towards the lake by reasserting the essential role of an activated and connected public street framework. And with these things in mind, Mr. Mayor, open those streets.
Excellent. We now are going to hear from Kelly Devine from the Burlington Business Association. Kelly, thank you.
Wow. This is a really great day for Burlington, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's great to see a lot of folks from our business community out in the audience today, because you all understand what it's like to make a commitment to Burlington. And so I can't leave the podium today without thanking UVM Medical Center, because they brought Don here. Don would not have found the Burlington Town Center if it wasn't for his trips to the UVM Medical Center. So it's a great example of how we work together as a community and how all the resources in the community are important. The malls served us well, but I think we all agree it's time to look towards the future. Downtowns that don't evolve don't really grow and prosper. This downtown is amazing. It's amazing to think of the evolution that this project could cause for the downtown. One thing that is exciting from the perspective of my membership is how close this project aligns with the work that went into Plan BTV. We did a lot of work to make sure that we had a voice in that process. I think it was a very collective process, and it's great to see over the course of time so many of those projects moving forward, including this one. What do we need? I agree, we need housing. Our organization is focused on growing housing. We need workforce housing, but we also need our office workers. And as many of you know, and won't be surprised to hear me say, we need parking. And this project includes all those things. But when people live downtown and work downtown, or they come to park downtown, why are they here, or what keeps them here? And it's amenities. And it's amazing to me to look at these plans and see the breadth and scope of the amenities that this project will create for the community. Of course, it's about economic development too at the end of the day. And I like to think about our community as one big neighborhood, and our businesses play an important role in that community. And the idea that we will expand the scope of the amazing amenities and services and attractions we offer on Church Street, and open up the street grid and change this mall into the vision of so many beautiful other structures that we've seen that have changed around the country and the world is amazing to me. Plus, we've got $200 million in investment. This is a city of 42,000 people. How can you not get excited when someone is ready to invest that kind of money? So on behalf of the members of the Burlington Business Association, I want to say how excited we are to be a part of this process, how excited we are that they're including the public in this process, and how excited we are to have a voice in how this particular project moves forward. Thank you, Don and the Mayor and Governor Shumlin, for making this possible.
All right, thank you for bearing with us. We have just a few more speakers, but there are a lot of different perspectives behind redeveloping the heart of the downtown, and we wanted to give a few other people a voice here on this significant day. Next up, we have the President of our City Council, Joan Shannon. Joan, thank you.
So Don, they gave you 5 minutes? 90 seconds. So I'm tightly scripted here.
Thank you, Mayor Weinberger, for including me in this significant announcement. And thank you, Don Phoenix, for giving us some great news to announce today. While I am not generally known as the first person to stand up and cheer for development, I offer my strong support to this project, which I believe will not only enhance our downtown, but also solve the biggest problems we have in our existing urban design. The mall currently is a grand obstruction to our existing grid, preventing pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicular traffic from efficiently navigating our city. Cherry and Bank Streets are locked and impervious. This proposed redevelopment will tear down the walls, reintegrate the north and south end, welcome pedestrians into new streetscapes and structures, and invite human, social, and economic interactions shunned by our current built environment. I want to thank Don Phoenix for taking on this daunting challenge. I also want to share my gratitude that Mr. Phoenix has the wisdom to bring in an outstanding historic preservationist who also understands community engagement in Sherida Paulson. Thank you, Sherida. Most often we have our historic preservationists sitting on the other side of the table, and I'm grateful for your position. It's going to be wonderful to have you on the team. While I don't think there will be many people chaining themselves to the mall building and claiming its historic virtues, but you never know, I do think that sensitivity to the historic environment surrounding this site and respect for the historic development patterns of the city is essential to the success of this project. Thank you, Don, and your team for bringing forward a vision for redevelopment that is worthy of this great city. Thank you.
Okay, now we have Ward 4 City Councilor Dave Harden here. Dave, thank you.
Thanks, bro. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. 2 weeks ago, on a cold November day, early in November, on a Friday morning, I believe it was, or Saturday morning when LL Bean opened up, and you look down Church Street, and Church Street was abuzz with more people than I've seen down here in a long time in early November. And it was exciting to see that. And that is just the beginning of what downtown Burlington is going to look like. When we talk about downtown Burlington, who's really going to benefit from this? It's easy to say that the restaurants are and retailers are, but there's another group that's going to benefit from this. Our schools are going to benefit from this. Our parks are going to benefit from this. Our community arts are going to benefit from this. Our waterfront is going to benefit from this. This is a winner for all of us here, and that's why I'm excited to be behind this project. And the other thing that was really exciting when I met with the owners of the mall was their commitment to community input. This is going to be a downtown for all of us here in Burlington, and that we can be proud of. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have 2 more speakers. Max Tracy, Ward 2 City Councilor here. Max, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So,
I'm incredibly excited to be here today and to be, seeing a project that I think will have tremendous benefit for the neighborhood that I represent, the Old North End, which, if you don't know, is one of the most diverse, economically, culturally, racially diverse neighborhoods in the entire state of Vermont. And in representing that neighborhood, I hear a lot of things about downtown, a lot of opinions about downtown, what people want for our downtown, but 2 themes consistently emerge. People in the Old North End want to be more connected to downtown and want to be able to connect in ways other than driving. So they want to be able to walk and bike to downtown. So by restoring that street grid, we integrate the Old North End in a much greater way. At the same time, given that diversity, given that wide range of perspectives that we have in the Old North End, there's also a desire for downtown to represent all of those different voices. And by opening this process up to the public, we allow ourselves to involve all of those voices and hopefully through that process really make sure that the final product represents all of that tremendous cultural, socioeconomic, and racial diversity that we have in the city of Burlington. So I just want to thank the mayor as well as Don Phoenix for really opening this process wide open to the public and allowing us all to really participate and have our voices heard.
And finally, Ward 6 City Councilor Karen Paul. Bring us home here, Karen.
So yes, we've all only been given 90 seconds. Number one, for those people who know me, know I can't say anything in 90 seconds. And number two, the governor was kind enough to give me 30 of his seconds. Before I just wanted to mention one thing, and that is about 3 or 4 days after the opening of LL Bean, I was downtown and I was having coffee with Don, and we were talking about the opening of LL Bean, and he said that the weekend that it opened, there were 30,000 people who came through LL Bean. Pretty amazing. I mean, that's a lot of people. But the thing that he was most proud of was that Outdoor Gear Exchange had its best weekend in 5 years. And I think that says volumes about the person who is going to be leading us in a process about the downtown mall. I think that says a lot. So Don, you're going to fit in just great here. And thank you very much. When I first learned about Don's vision for our mall, there's no other way to say it. It just took my breath away. I grew up in Burlington, and I remember when the mall was built. My first job as a teenager was in this mall. And you know, we have an award-winning, nationally acclaimed marketplace, but our mall has languished, and it's lacked a presence, it's lacked an identity. That was yesterday. And today, and in the months to come, we're going to embark on a journey with you, Don. We are all here, all of us, to support you, to help you realize a vision that will not only be your vision, but also a reflection of our community's values and priorities. You know, your conceptual plan, you know, it is right out of the pages of Plan B TV. This is exactly what many of us thought when we were working on Plan B TV. And so we stand ready to move forward with you. These are, I've said this many times over the past 2 years, these are very exciting times for Burlington. You know, given my financial background, I'm awed by the economic implications of this development and what it'll bring to our community. But as a citizen, as a city councilor, as a parent, I'm also awed by the plan for all of the many things that we've all talked about, the housing, the green roof, the project social and cultural possibilities. I could go on, but I only have 90 seconds. So all I would just like to add is that today is a very exciting day, and I'm looking forward to the process that we're going to embark on. But I can only think of one day more exciting than today regarding this project, and that is the day that I watch you cut the ribbon. Thank you.
Well, we're going to start working towards that day right away. The plan is to be before the City Council with a resolution authorizing this public process we've been talking about, moving towards a development agreement. The plan is to be in front of the council sometime in December, and there's work going on that resolution as we speak, and we'll go from there. This is going to take some time, and it's going to there will be changes to this vision, and we'll emerge. But I know that I am committed, and I believe Don is committed to seeing it through and seeing there being a successful, comprehensive redevelopment of this property.
Can I just add one thing?
You can, and then we'll take some questions.
I told you I can't take just 5 minutes. The one thing that I forgot to do, and this is a bit of a story, a bit of a background, and that is that it's one thing to see an asset that's underutilized and underdeveloped, very much like this office building was. It was an old S&L, of those of you who've been around here. It was empty space. It wasn't very well utilized, and so we put a better utilization to it. But when I bought the mall, it's one thing to say it needs to be developed. It's second thing to look at the demand factors and say, okay, there is a need for housing, there is a need for a different type of retail, there is a need for keeping office jobs downtown, there's a need for a larger garage, as Kelly pointed out, there's a need for a hotel, a different type of hotel, a special type of hotel. All of those are needed, but it doesn't mean you can do it. So what I did was I picked up Plan B TV, and I was stunned by the city's approach to this site. I even thought that maybe I had bought the center from the wrong party. I thought the city of Burlington owned it. It played such a prominent role in the report. And what I noticed and I got so excited about was Here is a city that gets it. They want to develop this mall too, and our interests were perfectly aligned. What that report says about this center, I concur and agree with 100%. What the changes that the report recommends, the changes that the mayor is proposing, is good for the center as well as good for Burlington. So our interests are aligned, and as the mayor just said, we're going to start this process, and as Karen just said, we're going to end it with a ribbon cutting ceremony, but only after we develop the best plan that is the best for all of Burlington. Thanks.
Okay, with that, why don't we be happy to take some questions?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Senex, whoever, you say in here that you would step forward with a plan when you initially approached the city about this redevelopment. Can you elaborate a little on what was in that plan? Were there any details about things you'd definitely like to see, or what does that look like this time?
Well, the only thing that's in the plan, and the plan is conceptual, is what market factors are out there that tells you that this site should be used in a different manner. So we bring new uses to the site. Clearly, housing is one of those things. This is an urban site. It deserves, and the downtown needs housing. All the reports suggest that. The vacancy rate is very low. Same with the retail. So what we propose to the mayor in concept is kind of what these renderings suggest. We think housing downtown is critically important to the revitalization and the sustainability of downtown. We think keeping jobs, therefore office space, is important. A different type of retail is important, and a hotel is important. So it was the market factors that drove us conceptually.
You mentioned public and private investment, I believe. And
Yep.
You also mentioned number $200 million. Do you know what the breakdown of that looks like? Are we looking at a huge investment from the city, or?
So this is what we're going to work through in this process. But I do think we have some tools here to make public infrastructure investment. We are in the waterfront TIF district. The property is in the waterfront TIF district. We are on the edge of the downtown TIF district. And this is what TIF districts were created for, is to make public infrastructure investments that support private investment. Certainly the lion's share of investment we're talking about here will be private investment from Don's group. But I do think, if you look at the images up here and you look at what we've kind of laid out in concept in the press release, we are talking about reopening pedestrian rights-of-way on Pine Street and St. Paul Street. We are talking about potentially a new public park. We are talking about potentially substantial new parking, which historically the city has played a role in investing in downtown parking. So we're talking about completely redoing the stormwater and a green infrastructure plan along Cherry Street. So, there's a lot of public investments that will be critical to the success of this property, and that I think we will see as a city a strong return on investment if we go that way. Another thing to remember about TIF investments is it is a great opportunity for Burlingtonians to make these investments without impacting property tax rates. So that's, we're happy to have Fred Kenny from VEPC here today, and we've given Fred some initial briefing on this, and I think it is likely that we will be coming forward with some TIF investments that would support this vision.
Are some of these renderings that we see behind us, are these some things that could be realized? Are these some possibilities that we might see? And the other question I just follow that is, going on this map here, and then some of the awnings and things, are we talking about tearing down some of the center of this mall, or are we not going that far?
Clearly, the renderings are intended to be suggestive. They're conceptual in nature, but yes, it's very possible that part of what you see could come to reality. And of course, when you undertake a project like this, we have to do the development in a way that the mall continues to operate. So we'll do it in phases or stages. And yes, there will be demolition. The old garage, for instance, has seen its days, and it will most likely be torn down, and new parking will be put underground so that we'll save the above ground, more valuable space for better uses, such as the housing and the offices and the retail and so forth.
Do you think we'll build levels onto this existing structure here?
At some point, it depends, this is the process that we're going to go through. What do we need? How does it get paid for? And how does it work? and the plan has to be balanced and the best for Burlington. And so we'll let the process go forward, but the answer is partly yes, but we don't know exactly until we go through the process. I mean, you're part of the public, we want your input on that very issue.
And just briefly, a timeline. Are we saying a few years? Are we saying 5 years, 10 years? What's kind of...
We're going to get started right away. We are going to be in front of the council in December. I expect that this, we're hopeful we'll get through this development agreement process in about 6 months, and from there it gets a little bit more difficult to predict exactly. But Don, what do you want to put a date out there when you're hoping to be in the ground?
I don't have the date. I just
in the private side of this equation, everybody wants the date. We're talking to destination tenants like LLB, and they say, well, you want me to come to Burlington, and you've explained to me why I should come. When am I coming? And I don't know the answer to that question quite yet, because this process will take us a number of months to conclude. But I think you're looking at realistically a 3 to 5 year time frame for the whole thing to be completed. That would be the entire $200 million invested, and you would have a stabilized, operating, vibrant Burlington Town Center in downtown Burlington.
Do you anticipate buying property to expand the size of the homes as well as going up?
Couldn't hear you, what?
Do you anticipate buying new property to actually expand the size of the mall and just land?
That's a possibility. We're looking at it. Again, what is our plan as this process evolves, and then what do we need to add to the current footprint? It's a possibility, and I've met a lot of the adjoining property owners, and we have ongoing discussions and conversations about that issue.
What kind of guarantees are there that you move forward with the ideas that are shared by members of the public? Is there any kind of guarantee that at the end of the day the public really has that say?
Well, the mayor can speak to it, but I am a member of the public at large, and I would say that our approach to this is a responsible and sustainable development that the city council can get behind, who are the elected representatives of the people. We will spend a number of months negotiating and having these public forums where you are all welcome to come and share your ideas, and the more impactful they are, the more impact they will have. That will lead to a development agreement between the city and myself, where I will agree to do X, Y, and Z, and the city will agree to do 1, 2, and 3, and then the city council will vet that agreement and either ratify it or not. So you are guaranteed to have an input in this process by that very nature.
Is that your question, Paul, or are you asking, is any of this going to happen?
That's my question.
Okay.
I mean, I guess for you, Mayor, if this doesn't turn out to reflect what the public wants, will you put the brakes on it, or?
Well, I'm encouraged that we're starting, as you've heard today, that we're not starting from scratch in terms of what the public wants. There has been an extensive process that thousands of people are involved in that is a starting place for the conversation. And I think when we get this process going, Don's going to come forward, with the concept that's illustrated here, that is his sort of take on on a real plan that is consistent with the Plan BTV vision. So I'm optimistic there is a large overlap between what the public has said it wants and what Don wants to build and has the capacity to build. That gives me optimism. Is it possible that it's not going to come together? Of course, but I sense a meeting of the minds here between what Burlingtonians want and what the current ownership of this property envision.
And just one more question. Could you address where the investment is coming from? Have you raised that money already? Are you in that process? Is it all?
It's the same issue when you talk to tenants about the timing and when they come. We don't know what we're going to build. We don't know what it's going to cost because we don't know what we're going to build. So it will unfold, but rest assured that I personally have been engaged in this business for 35 years. Some of the jokes were maybe my hair should be grayer than it is, but I've been engaged in $7 billion worth of real estate transactions. Some of my partners are extremely well heeled, if you will, and they're all anxious to know what is it that you're going to do with the city's blessing and participation, and then how can we help? I think raising the money will be the easier of the two tasks. Defining the scope of the project is going to be more difficult.
Okay, thank you all for coming. It's good. Appreciate how many people came out.